So, Zafar Saab, over to you.
Am I clearly audible to everyone? So I think I'm in a position of advantage as well as in a position of disadvantage because once you have gone through all these luminaries, so you are left with very little to, add to what has already been said. And the disadvantage is that the program requires you to speak. So you have to invent something new to be able to say
It's
something.
just like I just got reminded of our vivas in engineering
Yeah,
colleges. We used to sit in a group of four, and then
yeah.
I was luckily the fourth one. And when the question used to come to me, I used to go like, "Okay, same answer."
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
just
I would like to
your
take
perspective is most welcome.
yeah, 3 4 minutes to set out something because in today's setting, the kind of panel that we have, my position is really very unique because as I see all the journalists, some of them are those who operate out of the newsrooms at the national level and they look at Jammu and Kashmir story through a certain perspective as it's required for a national audience. Some other people like Ashwini ji, Anil, and Somender, they are here in Jammu and Kashmir, but they have to generate a story for a national audience. So it's an entirely different perspective. I'm someone who have for 20 years worked for on a local story for an entirely local audience. So my perspective, my thinking, my understanding of the media is slightly different. That could be something of some benefit to the other distinguished panelists. I think there are two, three things with the media because sometimes we have, this placing our every discussion in the context of the developments of August 5, 2019. And I think this makes a lot of usefulness in understanding in that context as well. The overall structure of media in Jammu and Kashmir is essentially divisive, it's regional. And sometimes, we change regionalism and communalism interchangeably. So let's not have any hesitation in saying that it's communal in nature as well. Ever since the media started coming up, newspapers started coming up, there was this, division between the press in the British India, Punjab, the kind of newspapers that would come to Kashmir and the kind of newspapers that would come to Jammu. They were from different ideological influences. And when we started having a press of our own in Srinagar and Jammu, so their ownership patterns, their ideological commitment, their sources, fundings, and their audiences were such that they cater to the regional opinions, of course, barring a few exceptions. So as the press improved, as the readership expanded, as new modern technologies arrived, this, the original model of a divisive press within Jammu and Kashmir has further strengthened. So, because this is very important to note and underline, because we look at Jammu and Kashmir as one political entity, as one administrative entity, and if this has to be looked at and dealt with as a one political and administrative entity, then there has to be some homogeneity within the institutions. So we have to admit and underline and acknowledge this point that our press is divided along the regional and to a large extent to the communal lines as well. This is not something that we can find out in the everyday reportage. This is something we find in the times of crisis when something serious happens, how press responds along the regional and communal lines. So that's one point. Second is that the size of the press in Jammu and Kashmir is, astonishingly disproportionate to the requirement of leadership in this very small state. As has already been mentioned by Anil and also Ashwini ji, that we have close to 500 newspapers, but if some are a little obscure, at least 60 to 70 newspapers every day compete with the news at the newsstands with each other. So I'm not even making a mention of the this new and the social media, which everyone with a mobile phone and an internet connection is out with as a new media house. So there is a huge penetration of media, which is very important, which is democratic, which is an easy access to everyone. But in societies which are torn by conflicts for a very long time, which have gone through problems where you have security and strategic concerns, this can be hugely anarchic also. So the third point is that we understand that we do not have any corporate or major business environment in Jammu and Kashmir, but still our media sector is thriving. There have been, a massacre of layoffs at the national presses, national media houses across the country, but there hasn't been much of such problem in Jammu and Kashmir. There have not been cut in the salaries. There have not been any layoffs. So media has been doing very well. But at the same, if despite this absence of a corporate environment, that we do not have a very strong private advertising base, still newspapers are thriving. As far as the readership is concerned, newspapers barely go beyond the towns, the sold copies. And towns make not more than 20% of the whole of Jammu and Kashmir. So, which means that this is something that points to, a little uncomfortable funding patterns of the newspaper. That is something that cannot be overlooked. These are, private affairs of the newspaper owners. But so there are two things that we can look at, that either they are funded entirely by the government advertisements, or many people have their other businesses and they draw money from their other businesses to fund their newspaper. So in both the circumstances, your editorial decision making process is completely, entirely influenced on the daily basis. The third point, so these are three factors of this is how, these three factors through which we examine the local press in Jammu and Kashmir. The third point that I wanted to make was that, the operating environment. So all of us operate, live, breathe in a certain environment, in a certain political environment, in a certain economic environment, and with certain security, certain strategic, certain cultural environment as well. So do the newspapers, so do the media houses, whether that is in Srinagar, in Jammu, in Delhi, or anywhere else in the world. So there is a certain background, there is a certain ecosystem in which all these institutions operate. So institutions cannot operate in complete isolations of the backgrounds, the environments in which they exist. So in Jammu and Kashmir, the kind of environment, the kind of context that exists in Jammu and Kashmir, there is a peculiarity about Jammu and Kashmir, which is why we are holding this seminar to discuss the media in Jammu and Kashmir. We do not find such seminars often in context of media in Himachal Pradesh or media in Punjab. Obviously, there are particular circumstances that we're talking about Jammu and Kashmir. So there are three different contexts for which we have always identified over a period of time the overall mix of Jammu and Kashmir. That how do we look at, and we seamlessly keep on interchanging those contexts. So one, first and foremost, is the security and strategic environment. That the media has to be, everyone, the politician, media, the ordinary person, they have to be conscious of the fact that they're in a particular security and strategic environment. And second is your constitutional environment. Until the August 5, 2019, the constitutional relationship, the constitutional environment has been a matter of a great discussion, as a subject of great discussion, great debate for the 70 years. It remains a matter of great discussion till this date also, but some of us do not want to have a discussion on that. Third is the governance, which is very important. And all these people who are here on the panel, they are veteran journalists. They have gone through these things, that when you engage in discussions, participate in debates. So we talk about the security and strategic environment, that how our neighbor has unleashed a war on us. So basically, we operate in a warlike environment as well. And then, if we discount that, sometimes depending on that, how good that suit our discussion, we say that, look at this. This is a purely, a issue between center and state, and we are focusing at that. So this entire, it's a sort of, the third thing is the governance. So journalists remain completely hooked up, media houses completely remain hooked up with the first two factors, that the security and strategic environment, and the constitutional and the political environment. Governance is completely ignored. And that is where we fall in the game of, manufacturing narrative, building narrative, dismantling narrative, or being a part of the narrative. I understand that media cannot complete itself in a completely isolation of the narrative. But exactly what happens in that reporting, which is the primary objective of the media person, that get bedeviled by several overlapping problems of the situation that is around us. So where do the boundaries lie between truth telling and patriotism, between truth telling and communalism, between truth telling and the regional chauvinism? One does not understand. Where are the boundaries between the factual information and propaganda, between describing events and interpreting them, and between the narrow focus and the broad canvas? So it's completely, the journalists get completely lost. Because when we operate in conflict, so we are not sensitive about the conflict, we are not sensitive about the demand of the peace journalism. We just, the kind of daunting task that the journalists in Jammu and Kashmir have, I guess one is barely, bothered about that. Even journalists do not, they are very casual about that. Even they do not want to understand that what is the kind of daunting task they have. So in doing this, entire bidding for the narrative at different layers, at different levels, at vertical level, at the horizontal level, the core area of reporting on governance, on human issues, on issues of everyday life, which matter the most to the people, get completely ignored. Now, I think that Sominder also touched upon this issue. Other people have also said that, this discussion is taking place in a particular context. I mean, a year after the political, constitutional, and the administrative changes that have taken place in Jammu and Kashmir. I think it's high time that journalists also get their acts right, and they also understand that what are their responsibilities in this latest new political, new economic, new social, new constitutional realities. I appreciate what Sumanda says, that people have a lot of suspicions, people have a lot of doubts. There are propagandas going around, and it's important for us to go to the people and tell them that, look, here is the government is very honest, government is very sincere. Here is what the government wants to do for you. I think it's also very much important. We are sure about our patriotism. We are sure about our nationalism. We are sure about our integrity. Once we are sure about all these things, we should rise above everything else and go back and tell people also that these are the skepticism, these are the doubts, these are the worries, these are the problems of the people as well. So that that bridge between the people and government can actually be built through a two-way communication. So I think that's where I would like to leave for the moment.
Thank you so much, Zafar Saab. The summary was amazing, and how everybody's point of view was also how it summarized into a very big. I think it looks like now that this journalist community in J&K knows that what are the pitfalls and where we have to work on within the community, so that the problems that we face on daily basis, these problems of rift between reportings, the problem of how international media sees us time and again, especially in the time of crisis, and how the communication gap between the administration and mainstream journalism, and these amateur mojo journalists that are running here and there, and nobody really has a clue of how bad a situation can get if if somebody reports about an ongoing operation that shouldn't. And like you said, that we have a narrow focus and there is a large canvas, but we fail to see it. And this is how I think we should be creating more papers, doing more discussions like these, and talking to more people, like you say. We should rise above patriotism and nationalism, and then we should talk about it. There should be a clarity on it, and then fine, we should talk about it.
Just
Thank
a
you so
brief
much.
intervention. I think it is very important to have this internal conversation among us, and such as the one which we are having right now. We need to talk with each other more often to be able to understand. So that would be, I think, I mean, media is such an independent institution. We cannot go to government institutions or the other organizations to tell us that what is to be done by us. We can get our acts right. We should keep on understanding how situation is unfolding and what is our role in this particular situation.
And like Aditya mentioned in the start, there should be some focus on Jammu also. Jammu lacks attention every now and then. And I think it's time after the abrogation, Jammu people, Sominder sir is laughing.
So I
But
request
I don't-
Aditya and Snehesh to give a little more attention to Jammu then.
So yes, everybody,
Absolutely,
you have
sir.
to give some attention to Jammu.
Absolutely.